But basically, complicit often obviously comes up in crime. It comes up in courts a lot. If you're complicit, then basically it would mean you're involved with, in some way contributing to something bad happening. It's unusual that you would say someone is complicit in doing a really good thing. It's generally used to refer to something illegal or bad, or I think a good term to use is something that is unjust or is an example of injustice. Okay. And then a really difficult thing, and something you guys might want to decide what you think about it, I've already mentioned, is basically, how much do you need to know about something to be complicit in it? If you're not aware that a crime is about to take place, but you somehow contribute to it, are you complicit in it? We'll talk a lot more about this if that isn't making complete sense at the moment. So this is a legal term. I think it's a US legal term, accomplice liability. This person is liable. They are responsible because they help someone who commits a crime. So this person here on the left is supposedly complicit with this crime because they're just sitting there idly watching it happen. They might be more complicit if they did something like distract that woman whose handbag has been stolen. They're clearly then more responsible. They would be more complicit. Why are they asking this question? What is the point? Well, it's clearly about responsibility. So there's a personal element. Most people would say that they would like to be a good person, whatever that means. They don't want to be evil. And so it's a question about moral responsibility. What do we want? Presumably, we don't want to be complicit in injustice. Some people might, but most of us wouldn't. And therefore, we need to decide, okay, well, am I helping this laptop company commit human rights abuses? Am I complicit in worsening climate? So it's about our own moral responsibility. But then it's also about just, are we, in doing certain things, are we making things worse for the planet, for certain people? Then I promised we'd talk about when is something else. So really you could think about it as, when do they become the same thing? Yeah, that's one simple way of doing it. When does compliance become the same thing as complicity? Obviously, the question is assuming that they're not the same thing to begin with, which I think is you can see why they would say that from what we've looked at. Compliance is just not stopping it, whereas complicit suggests that you are responsible for it in some way. But it's possible to argue there's no difference, they're always the same. Or, although it's unlikely, it would be possible to argue they are never the same thing. But that doesn't make a huge amount of sense. You probably wouldn't answer that. This is just a picture showing producers of battery metals around the world and how big supply chains can be, and how this is, if you buy a Tesla, how many people's lives around the world could be affected by that one decision.